Security was reaching for their guns. A homeless man had climbed over the fence of Kirk Douglas's Beverly Hills mansion. He was standing on the front lawn, filthy, shaking, holding a torn photograph. And when Kirk Douglas opened his own front door, his wife screamed at him to get back inside. Kirk walked straight toward the man. What happened next would stay secret for 23 years. November 8, 1975, Beverly Hills, California, one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in America. Manicured lawns, iron gates, armed security. Kirk Douglas's estate sat at the end of a private road. 7 bedrooms, tennis court, swimming pool. The kind of home that said, "I made it." That Saturday morning, Kirk was having breakfast with his wife Anne when they heard shouting outside. Kirk looked through the window. 2 security guards had a man on the ground. The man was skinny, wearing clothes that hadn't been washed in weeks. His beard was wild. His eyes were wilder. "Get down! Stay down!" The man wasn't fighting. He was just lying there, holding something against his chest. Anne grabbed Kirk's arm. "Don't go out there. Call the police. He could be dangerous." Kirk watched the scene for another moment. Then he opened the front door. "Kirk!" Anne's voice was sharp with fear. "What are you doing?" Kirk walked across his perfect lawn toward the commotion. The security guards looked up. "Mr. Douglas, please stay back. We've got this under control. Police are on their way." Kirk ignored them. He looked at the man on the ground. The man looked back. His eyes were red. Tears were cutting lines through the dirt on his face. "What's your name?" Kirk asked. The guards exchanged glances. "Sir, this man broke onto your property. He climbed the fence. He's trespassing. He could be—" I asked his name. Kirk's voice was quiet, dangerous. The man on the ground spoke. His voice was hoarse, like he hadn't used it in days. William Reeves." Kirk knelt down. The guards tensed. "William, why are you here?" William's hand shook as he held up what he'd been protecting. A photograph. Torn, faded, but unmistakable. Kirk Douglas as Spartacus. "I needed to see you," William whispered. "I needed to tell you something, before I couldn't anymore." Kirk looked at the photograph, looked at William's face, saw something there that the security guards couldn't see. "Let him up! Sir, we can't! Let him up! Now!" The guards released William. He struggled to his feet, swaying slightly. Kirk turned to his security team. "Go back to the gate. Tell the police it was a false alarm. Mr. Douglas, this man is my guest." Kirk's tone left no room for argument. "Go." The guards retreated, shaking their heads. Kirk turned back to William. "Come inside. You look like you could use some breakfast." William stared at him. You're inviting me into your home?" Kirk smiled. "I've got eggs. You like eggs?" Anne was standing in the doorway, her face pale. Kirk walked William past her into the house. She grabbed Kirk's arm. "Kirk," she whispered fiercely, "you don't know this man. He could be anyone. He could be dangerous." Kirk looked at his wife. "Anne, look at him. Really look at him." Anne looked. She saw a skeleton of a man, trembling, clutching a movie photograph like it was a holy relic. "That's not a dangerous man," Kirk said. "That's a broken one, and I think I know why." Kirk sat William down at the kitchen table, the same table where Kirk ate breakfast with studio executives and fellow movie stars. William looked around like he'd landed on another planet. Kirk put a plate of eggs in front of him. Eat first, talk after. William ate like a man who hadn't seen food in days, because he hadn't. When he finished, Kirk refilled his plate. William ate that too. Finally, Kirk sat across from him. "Now, tell me." William's hands were steadier now. The food had helped. "I was in Vietnam," William said. 68 to 71. 3 tours. Kirk nodded. He didn't interrupt. When I came back, everything was different. I was different. I couldn't sleep, couldn't hold a job, couldn't look at my wife without seeing things. William's voice cracked. She left, took the kids, said I wasn't the man she married anymore. She was right. That man died in Quezon. What came back was just a ghost. Kirk listened. I ended up on the streets, lost everything, shelter to shelter, dumpster to dumpster, watching the world go by while I disappeared. William held up the photograph. But I kept this. I found it in a trash can 2 years ago. Someone threw it away, but I kept it. Why? Kirk asked. Because of what Spartacus said. Kirk waited. William's eyes found Kirk's. In the movie, when they're about to crucify him, Spartacus says, "Death is not the worst thing. Living without freedom, without dignity, without hope. That's worse than death." William's tears fell onto the table. I've been living without dignity for 4 years, Mr. Douglas. Without hope. Most days, I think about ending it, about just stopping. Kirk's chest tightened, but then I look at this picture, and I hear Spartacus's voice, and I think, maybe one more day, maybe something will change. William looked up. I climbed your fence because I needed to tell you that. I needed you to know that you've kept me alive. Not the VA, not the government, not anyone who was supposed to help. You, a man I never met, a character in a movie. William broke down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for trespassing. I'm sorry for scaring your wife. I needed you to know, before I couldn't tell anyone anymore. Kirk sat in silence for a long moment. Then he reached across the table and took William's hand. William, look at me. William looked up, tears streaming. You're not going anywhere. Not today. Not tomorrow. Do you understand? William blinked. What? Kirk squeezed his hand. You climbed over my fence to tell me that a movie I made kept you alive. That's not trespassing. That's the greatest compliment anyone has ever paid me. Kirk's own eyes were wet now. You fought for this country. You gave everything, and this country threw you away. That's not your failure. That's ours. Kirk stood up. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to take a shower. You're going to put on clean clothes, and then we're going to figure out how to get your life back. William shook his head. Mr. Douglas, I can't ask you to. You didn't ask. I'm telling. Kirk called for Anne. She appeared in the doorway, her expression softer now. She'd been listening. Anne, can you find some of my clothes for William, and show him to the guest bathroom? Anne looked at William, then at Kirk. Then back at William. She nodded. Come with me, William. William stood on shaky legs. He looked at Kirk. Why? Why are you doing this? Kirk smiled. Because Spartacus wasn't just a character, he was an idea. The idea that every person has dignity. Every person deserves freedom. Every person matters. Kirk put his hand on William's shoulder. You matter, William, and I'm going to make damn sure you don't forget it. What Kirk Douglas did over the next 6 months never made the newspapers. He paid for William to enter a veterans rehabilitation program. He covered the costs himself, anonymously. He helped William reconnect with his ex-wife, not to restart the marriage, but to see his children again. After 4 years, he used his connections to get William a job at a veterans organization, starting at the bottom, working his way up. And every week, Kirk called, just to check in, just to remind William that someone cared. Anne asked him once why he was spending so much time on a stranger. Kirk's answer was simple, because someone should have done it years ago. When he came back from Vietnam, someone should have been there. The government wasn't. His family couldn't handle it. Society looked the other way. Kirk looked at Anne. We send young men to war, and then abandon them when they come home broken. That's not acceptable. And if I have the ability to help even one of them, then that's what I'm going to do. 23 years later, in 1998, William Reeves stood at a podium. He was 62 years old, gray hair, neatly trimmed, wearing a suit, healthy. He was being honored by the Los Angeles Veterans Association as Volunteer of the Year. For 22 years of service helping homeless veterans get back on their feet. In his acceptance speech, William told the story. In 1975, I climbed over a fence in Beverly Hills. I was homeless, hopeless, ready to die. I just wanted to tell Kirk Douglas that his movie had kept me alive. William paused. He could have had me arrested. He could have ignored me. He could have written a check and sent me away. William's voice grew thick. Instead, he invited me into his home. He fed me breakfast. He listened to my story. And then he spent 6 months putting my life back together. William held up a photograph, the same torn picture of Spartacus he'd carried for years, now framed. Kirk Douglas didn't just save my life. He taught me what Spartacus really meant. It's not about fighting in an arena. It's about seeing someone who's been knocked down and helping them get back up. William looked at the audience. I've spent 22 years trying to do what Kirk did for me. I've helped 347 veterans get off the streets, get jobs, get their dignity back. He smiled. 347 Spartacuses, because one man looked at a filthy stranger on his lawn and saw a human being worth saving. Kirk Douglas was in the audience that night. He hadn't told anyone he was coming. When William finished, Kirk stood up and applauded. Their eyes met across the room. William gave a small nod. Kirk nodded back. Nothing else needed to be said. After the ceremony, they talked privately. William showed Kirk something, a letter from his daughter. She was getting married. She wanted William to walk her down the aisle. Kirk read the letter. His hands trembled slightly. "You did this," William said. "You gave me my family back. You gave me my life back." Kirk shook his head. "No, William. I opened the door. You walked through it. Everything you've built, everything you've done, that's you, not me." William smiled. "You know what I tell the veterans I work with? The ones who think nobody cares? Who think they're invisible? What? I tell them about the day I climbed Kirk Douglas's fence, and I tell them, if Spartacus can see you, then you're not invisible. You matter. You just need someone to remind you." Kirk pulled William into a hug. "Keep fighting, Spartacus," Kirk whispered. William hugged him back, always. And sometimes, if you look closely at the old photographs from Hollywood's golden age, you can still see it. Not the fame, not the awards, but the look in a man's eyes when he chose principle over comfort. Kirk Douglas played tough guys on screen, but off-screen he was tougher. In an industry built on pretending, his courage was the only real thing that lasted. Is there a moment in your life where you wish someone had stood up for you? Or a moment where you stood up for someone else? Hollywood has many secrets, but these are the ones worth telling. If you want to know the real stories, the ones they didn't put in the magazines, you're in the right place. We are peeling back the curtain on the man who never bent. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to Kirk Douglas, the man who never bent. We are just getting started. There are stories about Bert, about Spartacus, and about the moments that defined a legend. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Leave a comment below. What would you have done in Kirk's position? I'll see you in the next video. Never bend.